Okay, Keith, welcome to the second part of round 15.
Yes.
We had two big games on the weekend, a Saturday game and a Sunday, so we might just do a bit of a review. Tyrrell and Wonthaggi.
They were two huge games for the four clubs. So important. Wonthaggi, 4 losses in 5 games there, and they were looking, real top 3 material now, tight on their hands. After losing to Tyrrell, I don't know if you get any complaints from Wonthaggi about their draw. Their next 2 games, travel to Maffra, then travel to Bairnsdale. So that's a hard finish for them. They finish off at home against Warragul, but a couple of big games there again. But no, that was Wonthaggi just over the past 5 or 6 weeks haven't been able to get a couple of scalps that they needed to really consolidate. They beat Maui, but have lost to 4 other finals contenders. Maffra, a bit of a mystery. They cost me in the tipping again, as they've done virtually all year. Pick them when they lose, don't pick them when they win. But it's interesting as I look through the season, they've only once won successive games, and that was against Warragul and Norwood. Yeah. And they still have those 2 sides to come in the last 2 rounds, so it makes their next game, which happens to be against Wonthaggi, both losers last weekend, such a crucial game to both of them.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, and the latter, we were speaking about it before, it's actually too hard to work out. At this stage, Tyrrell, Sale and Druin look like they're reasonably safe in the top 3, and then 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. There's a real battle there, and anybody that picks those 4th and 5th spots at this stage, it'll be a lucky guess.
Well, the competition's so even that really a side that isn't in the 5 at the moment might well be premiers.
Well, you never know. Exactly right. Well, all right. This week, first game, Warragul home to Maui.
Yeah, well, Maui has had a setback when they lost to Wonthaggi.
Yes.
But have been going along well. Have had a couple of good wins, but this is a really crucial one to them. They must win this. The loss to Warragul really hurt when Warragul haven't won much, just 1 game. Yeah. Gather losing to them could very well be the hurt for Gather. But Maui can't afford to take it lightly. I think their side's pretty good. They just got to bring their game there to Warragul and make sure they play a good, disciplined game, well focused on winning the game. They've got some goal kicking power up forward, which Warragul doesn't have, so it's reasonably even elsewhere. You'd expect Maui to win.
Yeah, we saw the second half of Wonthaggi and Maui, and it was a strange one because Maui's actually beaten everybody above them, and then all of a sudden they came out and put a second half in that was, well, you just couldn't explain it, could you? They just went dead. But anyway, look, I believe Maui is good enough to win. I believe that was a bit of a setback, and if they win, they could actually find themselves in the 5. The next one, Morwell at home to Druin.
Yeah, again, it sort of ranks a bit like Maui Warragul, whereas form suggests Druin should win. But it's been a crazy season.
Yes.
Don't take anything for granted. I think the forecast as we know it now, it might be all that pleasant a day on Saturday, which again changes the complex of games. So, Druin should win, but I wouldn't be counting any chickens here.
Yeah, going by ladder positions and all that, one would say that Druin should win. And I suppose what we're saying there is I'll tip them. But look, it's going to be in a good big ground. Again, if the weather conditions aren't too good, that always helps the side that's theoretically not as good. But anyway, one would expect that Druin is an opportunity to cement 3rd place. if they win this one, it's nearly, it's nigh on impossible for them to actually lose third place.
Well, it's not impossible, but
nigh on impossible.
So many other things have to happen to do that. Yeah.
Okay, we'll go to the next one, Sale Leongatha. Now this has got a lot of bearing on it. Leongatha need to win to keep themselves in touch with that final 4-5.
Oh yeah, Leongatha definitely need to win. I mean, the run home isn't all that easy. Yeah, they've got to notch wins. Yeah, I don't think they can count on 2 out of 4 wins in the last 4 games, getting them into the finals. I think they'd probably, they'd be looking at it as needing to win 3 out of 4.
Yeah.
And starting this week with Sale, but it's a big ask, and if Sale is really keen to get back on that top position, which they will if they win this week, which is a big advantage come finals, finishing on top. So there's a lot of stake here. A real, certainly the match of the weekend, but it's going to be huge. Leongatha's been something of a mystery this year. It's played some good games. It's thrown away a couple of games at times. Maybe a little bit of inexperience has caught them out. That experience isn't one of Sale's shortcomings. I just think at Sale, the Sale side building towards the finals, I'll definitely be in the finals. They'll definitely be top 3, I would think. And I'd select Sale. It would be interesting how competitive Leongatha is, and maybe they can knock them off, because on their day they've played some great footy.
Well, I think it's such an important game to Leongatha. I'm actually going to tip them to cause an upset. I believe that their season's on the line, and this is the one they've got to win. So to the Parrots and Mel Mackey and his boys down there, I reckon this week, boys, I think you may cause an upset. And then you'll be in the 5, and it's been a long year for you, and I know how important it is. So I'll go for an upset and go for the Parrots.
Well, it's going for an upset, if they did happen to upset Sale, it just shows what a crazy season it's been, because it's only a fortnight ago that Warragul beat Leongatha.
And I was the one that tipped Sale to be unbeaten through the year, and you've got $20 there, Keith, on my from my tip. One interesting thing too, I noticed in your paper this week, lights at Warragul, coming to Warragul.
Yep. Yeah, well, that's great. There was, it always looked as if it was only going to be an upgrade that would still only provide lights for training, but in their wisdom, the Walball Shire Council at a later stage, and I don't know whether it was because when tenders came in, they were coming in a bit lower than what they'd budgeted, but the scope was there to upgrade them to that 100 lux, whatever 100 lux means, but it is the minimum standard that the CFL sets for night matches, so if they get that, it'll be fantastic. Wonthaggi's got plans for night games, for new lighting,
yes.
And with Sale, Moe and Leongatha, it's 5 out of 10 clubs.
Yeah, no, it'll be fantastic, and it'll be great for the Walball Shire to have a facility that can handle night games. I suppose now, it's only we've only got 3 games this week. Is there any other point that you need to bring up, Keith?
I know you've done the grand final venue. When are we looking at venues for the other finals?
Well, we'll be having a final subcommittee meeting on Thursday night, so that will be raised, and also we have got a board meeting on Saturday morning, and there will be some, I suppose, suggestions put up, but at this present time, because of the mix of the clubs, it's so hard to actually determine, which final would suit which clubs in which part of the league. So, I mean, we don't want to have a situation where, Wonthaggi are playing Bairnsdale, if that's the 4th and 5th, and we're playing that at, at Traralgon or something. Although, sorry, that might I've picked the wrong one, but you've just got to make sure that we can actually get a bit of a crowd to it, and it'd suit where at least one of them is playing.
Yeah, but for example, if it was Matter and Bears, so you would have wanted it one taggy, wouldn't you?
Exactly, and that's thank you for bringing that up, because I mucked it up myself.
Yeah, the other big thing involving a name you're familiar with, Samilis,
Yes.
that Druin has reappointed Ben Samilis as coach for next year.
I believe that is so. You've written that up in your article. Yeah. And obviously Druin feel he's the man to go forward with, so you'd probably be better off saying anything about that more than I.
Yeah, it's really a great appointment for the club at this time of the year. You know where you're heading next year. His job at Druin in the 2 3/4 years he's been here has been fantastic. Took the club from nowhere to finals in the first year, to a grand final last year. They were headed for finals again this year. Never know what holds, but he's been terrific around the club, both on the field and off the field, and it's really put fair spring in the step of the club. I think he can be given credit for a lot of that. On the field he has been fantastic, so it's great news for him.
Yeah, look, it's I agree wholeheartedly with you. If a club's their plan, you're nearing the end of the year, but you've also got to put some plans in place for next year. And if you've got a coach appointed now, it saves all that acrimony and at the end, and you can actually start recruiting players knowing who the coach is. So well done to Druin, and all I can say is they've reappointed a good coach. But to everyone, thank you very much. That's it for us, and we'll be back for round 16 preview next week.
Thank you.